Greetings all, thedvsmonkey here. Today I want to talk about using different systems as far as your cameras go. What do I mean? Well, let's say you're excessive like me and you've had Panasonic cameras and Sony cameras and GoPro cameras. You get the idea. You're using different systems. And sometimes even within the same manufacturer, you're using different cameras. Again, like me, where you have a Sony a7 III and a Sony a6600. Similar, but very different. Panasonic, I had a G85, a G9, a G7, a GH5. All the same, but all different. What I'm getting at is sometimes it's very challenging to differentiate between the cameras, and I end up flubbing footage or missing a photo opportunity because I think I'm using one camera but I'm using the other. Specifically, all right, my Sony a7 III that I usually just use for still shots. The a6600, which I'm filming with right now, are very similar. And the reason that I had decided to get the a6600 is because it was so similar to the a7 III. Now, I guess in the grand scheme of things, they're similar enough where it has sort of the same menu structure, buttons are all roughly the same, you kind of know what you're getting into. But I found very quickly that they're not the same. Like this a7 III, I mean, it has an exposure compensation wheel. The a6600 doesn't. It has more custom buttons on it for you to set up however you want. They're two completely different cameras. Even though they're both Sonys and they're both so similar, they're very different. What I thought when I bought the a6600, that it would sort of be a seamless transition. Or that there wouldn't even be a transition, that I would just be able to jump from one camera to the other and know exactly where everything was and how everything's set. That's not the case. Now, I generally differentiate the two cameras by their function, in which case I use the a7 III for still shots, and I use the a6600 for filming. Sometimes, though, I need to use the a7 III for filming, and that's where I run into issues. I tried to set it up similar, and it's close, but it isn't. So I try to do something, and I'm like feeling for the buttons, because as I said before, on the 6600, I can use it with my eyes closed, literally. I can sit here, reach behind it, and I can push each button and know exactly what it's going to do and how to set things. I think that's something that you need to do as a creator, is that you need to learn your gear so good that you can use it blindfolded. But I've used the a6600 so much for the past 2 months since I bought it, like almost exclusively every single day, that now my using the a7 III, I haven't used it as much. So I like, wait a minute, what the hell can I get? And I couldn't get the settings right, so a lot of shots I end up missing. It's getting to the point now where I have almost exclusively been filming rather than taking still shots. Now, granted, we're in lockdown, so there's a girl that actually moved a couple miles away from me that I've had a couple of photo shoots with, and we were kind of excited that she was moving so close, because then at the drop of a hat we could get together and we could shoot. Well, now we can't get together because we're all gonna die, and I haven't had a photo shoot since our last one together. So I'm not doing really that many still shots. Actually, until I took it out this weekend to the Botanic Gardens, I hadn't even taken the a7 III out to do any still shooting. So the last time I really used the a7 III in a filming capacity was to shoot my review of the a6600 being used on the Crane M2. So I was going to use the a7 III, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out, I'm like, wait a minute, how the hell do you set that? It was kind of like, whoa, I can't believe I forgot how to use it already. It's only been like a month and a half since I've touched it. The other camera that I still have is this Panasonic G9. It is completely different from the Sony cameras, both of them. And wow, it'd been sitting in that bag for at least 3 months, at least. Probably more than that, because I had been using the a7 III almost exclusively for everything, filming and stills, and I never touched it. When I dug it back out, I literally had to go find the manual and watch some videos on how to set things again, because I couldn't remember. Eventually, once I bought the a6600, I realized all right, there's really no point in me keeping the Panasonic. So it went back in the bag. Everything is set up so differently on that Panasonic, and I don't use it enough to remember how to do things with my eyes closed. So it's lost on me, and I don't really use it that much. It's kind of sitting out just in case. I'm curious on what you do. I know a lot of you out there have multiple cameras, multiple setups. You know, filmmakers, they all have an A cam and a B cam, and a lot of times when it comes to a B cam, they get a smaller APS-C camera like the 6600, but their main camera is, you know, the bigger full frame A7 III, or, you know, different Canons or different Nikons or different Panasonics, Olympus, Fuji, you name it. The B cam is always sort of like the older camera, like the lesser camera, but I don't see it that way because I think the 6600 is amazing. It shoots better video than the A7 III, which is why the A7 III is the still camera. Enough. I want to know, what do you do? Do you use two separate cameras? Do you get two of the same camera? Do you just use one camera and quit bitching? Let me know. I want to know. That's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that shit. And remember, kids, forward and up.